China celebrates the 10th anniversary of the establishment of pilot free trade zones. We discuss the significance of these zones to the country's economic growth and innovation. The European Chamber's Shanghai chapter published its annual report Wednesday on the business environment in China. We continue to mark 10 years of the Belt and Road Initiative. Our reporters bring us to Egypt and Ethiopia to explore how the BRI benefits local people. From CGTN headquarters here in Beijing, this is Global Business. I'm Michelle Vandenberg. Xi Jinping, General Secretary of the Communist Party of China Central Committee, has stressed efforts to actively participate in the reform of the World Trade Organization and improve the ability to handle high-level opening up. Xi made the remarks while presiding over a group study session of the Political Bureau of the CPC Central Committee on Wednesday. He emphasized the crucial role of the World Trade Organization in global economic governance and the necessity of reform. He also highlighted China's remarkable journey since joining the WTO in 2001 and its incredible trade growth in subsequent years. Xi, who is also the Chinese president, called for resolute support of the WTO's authority, a restoration of its dispute settlement mechanism, and a commitment to economic globalization and true multilateralism. He stressed the importance of aligning with high-standard international trade rules, enhancing market access, and embracing digital and sustainable trade, all of which underline China's unwavering dedication to reform and openness for mutual global benefit. 2023 marks the 10th anniversary of the establishment of China's first pilot free trade zone. Over the past 10 years, China has set up 21 pilot free trade zones scattered across the country. More than 3,400 reforms have been tested, establishing a relatively mature policy framework. These free trade zones have proved to be very successful. In 2022, the 21 free trade zones attracted 18.1% of China's total foreign direct investment and contributed 17.9% to the country's foreign trade. In the first half of 2023, these figures increased further to 18.4% and 18.6% respectively. Looking ahead, China will continue to push ahead reforms for pilot free trade zones and allow them to spearhead the country's opening up.
We'll collaborate with relevant government branches to promote the reasonable reduction of the negative list for foreign investment access within the free trade zones. We'll also work on introducing a negative list for the cross-border trade in services, paving the way for a nationwide expansion in the next stage.
In the heart of northeast China, the city of Dalian is making waves as it charts a new course in international trade. Its pilot free trade zone is playing an essential role in boosting free trade and opening doors to the world. Our reporter Dai Kai-yi tells us more.
Here at the Dalian area of China's pilot free trade zone is a beehive of activity. Covering a vast 60 square kilometers, the port has massive terminals handling a vast number of containers. We've been told that this place alone has been a major boost for the region's growth.
Our industrial structure is continuously optimizing. The area has built up a modern industrial system, which includes core industries led by automobile, bulk commodities international trade, and strategic emerging industries such as new energy, advanced equipment manufacturing, and it's supported by port transportation, logistics, and finance.
Through not only traditional international trade, but in supporting emerging industries as well, the deputy director says this area is pushing the envelope. The port undertakes 70% of foreign trade goods and 90% of foreign trade containers in northeast China and has trade exchanges with more than 300 ports around the world.
We are working to build a high-standard free trade zone that gathers high-end industries, facilitates trade and investment, and optimizes financial services. We aim to lead the Northeast region to transform its growth model by improving its quality.
Dalian Commodity Exchange, or DCE, is another example of the region's development progress. It currently ranks 9th in terms of trading volume on a global scale, becoming an important global futures market for agricultural products, plastics, coal, and iron ore. Both the pilot free trade zone and the commodity exchange were the focus of a media trip to Liaoning, organized by China's State Council Information Office. Reporters from some 15 international media outlets attended, from countries such as the U.S., France, Switzerland, Singapore, Japan, and North Korea.
Officials here say Dalian's commitment to free trade and openness remains strong as the city is becoming the pivot for international commerce, is evolving into a maritime gateway from northeast China to the world. 戴凯怡 CGTN 大连。
China has released a white paper emphasizing its contributions to the global economy in the past decade. The white paper highlighted the importance of a new type of economic globalization for building a global community of shared future. It said the current model of economic globalization has failed to meet the demands and interests of developing countries. The white paper was critical on existing economic practices, which encouraged a law of the jungle, zero-sum game, and winner-takes-all mentality. It says these mindsets have worsened the divide between the rich and the poor, as evidenced by the widening gap between developed and developing economies. The white paper stressed that the countries need to pursue a policy of openness and explicitly oppose protectionism, fences, and barriers, unilateral sanctions, and maximum pressure tactics so as to connect economies and build an open global economy. It said all countries should strive to build a system built of fair, reasonable, and transparent international economic and trade rules. The white paper also called on nations to press ahead with trade and investment liberalization and to further promote economic exchanges and integration in order to build a fairer, more inclusive global economy. You're watching Global Business, still to come. The European Chamber's Shanghai chapter published its annual report Wednesday on the business environment in China. More on that when we come back.
The world economy as we know it is about to change. Global Business reports highlight emerging markets, developing countries, and dynamic sectors worldwide. We feature top analysts and newsmakers to provide perspectives on every facet of business. From an on-the-ground perspective, we provide you with balanced and objective assessments. Fast, sharp, and insightful. Global Business, only on CGTN.
The European Chamber's Shanghai chapter published its annual report Wednesday on the business environment in China. Based on the surveys from over 1,700 European companies operating in China, the European Business in China position paper outlines the challenges European businesses face, their investment confidence, and suggestions for improving the business environment. Amid China's post-pandemic recovery, more than 63% of Chamber members expressed a willingness to increase investments if market access, especially in green energy sectors, improved. China introduced 24 measures to boost foreign investment in August.
We have the foot on the ground, so we are facing problem and we are trying to give solution to this problem. It's really good to see the publishing of this 24 measure. We hope that we will have more reform in this direction, and especially we will hope that we will have a stronger implementation of the measure, because as you know, the opinion just published in August give the guidelines. We want to see the enforcement and the application of these guidelines as well.
Overseas asset management institutions have been investing in Chinese public fund markets in recent years. So far, 9 wholly foreign-owned public fund firms have been set up in China. One of the institutions, Fidelity International, said it is investing in China from a long-term perspective and launched its first public fund product this year, which mainly invests in the A-share market and Hong Kong stocks. Another institution's Schroder Investment Management said it highly values the Chinese market and will celebrate Schroder Group's 30th anniversary since investing in China next year. The investment giant also said it is confident it can provide profits for A-share investors, especially after the establishment of its local fund company. More than 5,000 companies are now listed on the A-share exchanges, with their total value surpassing 85 trillion yuan, or about $11.7 trillion US. That came as China's capital markets continue to gain attention from global investors. Zhang Shixuan has more.
Last Friday saw an uptick in overseas buying of A-shares via the Stock Connect links between Shanghai, Shenzhen, and Hong Kong, leading to a net inflow of overseas capital of almost 7.5 billion yuan. Media, banking, automobiles, and electronics were among the sectors attracting foreign funds. And while the recent trend has been towards foreign investors pulling their money out of Chinese mainland equities, experts say recovery trends remain strong over the long run.
China's core industry, the manufacturing sector, is the main focus for foreign investors firms like us. Over the midterm, we also have strong confidence in sectors like pharmaceuticals and consumption, which play key roles in boosting China's domestic demand, and we are maintaining a relatively heavyweight position there. As a foreign invested asset manager, we want to focus more on the things in which China is relatively competitive in global industries. And of course, the population of 1.4 billion provides a huge market, which we foresee will remain for another 20 or 50 years.
Having been in the mainland market for almost 30 years, UK headquartered Schroders just this year established a wholly foreign-owned public fund management company here.
We have observed many opportunities for excess returns in the Chinese stock market, namely the alpha investment that the asset management industry refers to. From a global asset management perspective, China has become a highly attractive market, considering its highly overall savings rate and low pension savings rate per capita, together with the demographic trends as well as pension and wealth management demands.
Last year, 428 companies made their IPO debuts on the A-share markets. The China Securities Regulatory Commission reports that last year, A-share listed companies in general showed good resilience, and that in particular tech firms saw high growth and high R&D investment. High-tech manufacturing firms on the A-share market saw revenue grow 14.6% last year. Zhang Shixuan, ICS for CGTN, Shanghai.
Now to some other stories making headlines from around the world. Indonesia has banned goods transactions on social media platforms under a new regulation. The country's trade minister said on Wednesday, Jakarta aims to rein in direct sales by major tech firms, it says, are harming millions of small businesses. The Asian Development Bank on Wednesday revised down its forecast for Vietnam's economic growth to 5.8% in 2023. The country's industrial production is shrinking due to falling global demand, while services are expected to continue expanding. French supermarket retailer Système U says it will reduce prices of key food products. The comments came as the government maintains pressure on leading companies to help households cope with stubborn high inflation. The Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank now has 109 members after its Board of Governors approved the application of El Salvador, the Solomon Islands, and Tanzania during its annual meeting this Tuesday, which was the bank's first in-person gathering since 2019. Up till now, AIIB members collectively account for 81% of the world's population and 65% of global GDP. Our reporter Yasser Hakim has more.
The Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank has concluded its two-day annual meeting in Egypt, during which it reinforced its commitment in combating climate change. Sessions on the final day focused on private sector participation and access to finance. Egypt's International Cooperation Minister told CGTN the Beijing headquartered bank was playing a critical role in supporting emerging economies amidst the current global challenges.
The AIIB, similar to other MDBs, the whole type of financing is concessional. The call is for these banks to increase their lending, but the definition of their lending is one which is below market rates, and this is extremely important for countries.
Host country Egypt has been touted as a success case, being the largest African beneficiary of the Multilateral Development Bank's support after announcing a $1 billion financing deal this week and raising Egypt's investment portfolio with the bank to $2.3 billion.
China is a major player in this initiative. As Egypt, we're longing for new partnerships, new ideas. Having our participation in the AIIB as an infrastructure bank that completely fits with our vision to upgrade our infrastructure in Egypt.
A milestone reached during this week's meeting at Sharm el-Sheikh is the launch of the bank's Climate Action Plan, which will see investments in green infrastructure jump from about $2.6 billion to nearly $8 billion.
The toolkit for financing instruments that the AIIB provides is also quite diverse. So we have the project lending. We also have development financing frameworks. And now the Panda Bond is also a guarantee that AIIB provides along with the African Development Bank.
Apart from the traditional infrastructure projects such as roads and renewable energy projects, delegates also mapped out plans to invest in digital infrastructure. To cap off the annual meetings, there was the handover ceremony where the current host Egypt would hand the chair of the Board of Governors to next year's host Uzbekistan. The Central Asian country is a founder member of the AIIB, which began its operations in January 2016.
Uzbekistan has shown its commitment to the ideals of multilateralism in their active promotion of international initiatives in sustainability and strengthening our.
We firmly believe that by gathering in Samarkand, we can collectively address these challenges, exchange valuable insights, and forge innovative solutions that benefit every member nation of the AIIB.
Before the session ended, the bank's board approved membership applications from Tanzania, the Solomon Islands, and El Salvador, thereby increasing the lender's total number of members to 109. Yes Hakim for CGTN, Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt.
You're watching Global Business, still to come. We continue to mark 10 years of the Belt and Road Initiative. Our reporters bring us to Egypt and Ethiopia to explore how the BRI benefits local people.
What are you still standing here for? Come join us.
Take a flight, catch a train, hop on a bus. We are traveling to places of different cultures and languages.
بفيديو ريبورتاجي زوماتي كازاخستان دبي أو زيميرا عرب جيني لاسكايس ريو دي جانيرو للمشاريع في داكا بنغلاديش.
And what are we looking for?
Infrastructure along the Belt and Road countries. Stories of how they promote growth and improve lives.
Only on our special series of the New Silk Road.
Over the past decade, 152 countries and 32 international organizations have signed up to the Belt and Road Initiative. As the initiative hits its 10-year mark, CGTN's reporters have traveled to 22 Belt and Road nations across Asia, Africa, Europe, and Latin America to hear of stories on collaboration, transformation, and people-to-people exchanges under the framework. Setting off from Kunming, capital of China's Yunnan province, our reporters are heading to Bangladesh, Egypt, and Cambodia. In this episode, we follow our reporter Feng Yilei to Egypt's China Cultural Center, which acts as a hub for dynamic cultural exchanges between Beijing and Cairo.
I'm now at the Cairo China Cultural Center, which has served as a bridge for cultural exchange between China, Egypt and other Arab countries since it officially opened more than 2 decades ago. The center organizes cultural events, exhibitions, training courses and competitions, and judging from the attention it attracts on social media, it garners significant interest from locals. And the center also promotes tourism between China and Egypt, and actually Egypt became one of the first destinations for Chinese citizens to travel to overseas once Beijing lifted its COVID restrictions. And China and Egypt have a long history of exchanges dating back over 2,000 years ago when they were connected by the Asian Silk Road. And since then, the two peoples have supported each other in times of difficulty. In 1956, Egypt became one of the first Arab and African countries to establish diplomatic relations with China. And in 2014, the two countries upgraded their ties to a comprehensive strategic partnership, opening a new chapter in bilateral cooperation. And since Chinese President Xi Jinping proposed the Global Civilization Initiative, it's been warmly received by many countries in the international community, especially Arab nations. Experts say China and Arab countries not only have an ancient and profound cultural heritage, but share common values in terms of inclusiveness and mutual learning. And earlier this year, over 50 famous Arab artists wrote a letter to Chinese President Xi Jinping. They were invited to visit China and create works of art as they participated in the so-called Silk Road Artists Rendezvous. The letter expressed admiration for China's achievements in culture, art and civilization, and conveyed a willingness to promote dialogue and mutual learning between the two Asian civilizations. And President Xi replied to the letter, encouraging the artists to create more work of art that reflect China-Arab friendship and make new contributions to enhancing relations between our peoples. And the Chinese leader also emphasized how culture connects hearts and art can interlink the world.
From Urumqi, capital of China's Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region, our reporters have embarked on journeys to Kazakhstan, Ethiopia, and Malaysia. In this episode, we join our reporter Ning Hong in Ethiopia to explore the Friendship Park and experience the local culture in Addis Ababa. The park is a symbol of the aid China has given Ethiopia and has become a popular destination for the city's residents.
A must-visit spot for anyone looking for a serene and beautiful place in the Ethiopia capital, Addis Ababa. Friendship Park boasts lush vegetation from all over Ethiopia, combined with Chinese garden design and modern fountain facilities. It's become a beloved destination for locals.
This place is gives for many purposes and the functions. One of that big event is going on this area. In addition to that, wedding and birthday. This is a big place, and we cover this area.
Ethiopia has such a rich culture, and now this park is a landmark in the capital where people will hold celebrations here. It is getting closer to its national holiday, and you can see people here dressed in national costumes and filming videos for the celebration. At the highest point in the park, there's an observatory deck adorned with beautiful Ethiopian landscapes crafted from Chinese white marble. The China Communications Construction Group played a pivotal role in constructing this park from start to finish.
This project had a total investment of 400 million yuan, or about $50 million, and it was completed in just 10 months. It not only improved the river and urban environment, but also symbolizes the 50-year friendship between China and Ethiopia.
This area within the park is called Friendship Square. Its design blends traditional Chinese garden aesthetic with elements of Ethiopian culture. Featured at the center is a world map, which highlights Ethiopia in red, symbolizing humanity's journey from this place to the world.
Our chamber advocates that Chinese companies prioritize social responsibility in their business philosophy. We actively gather corporate social responsibility plans. We organize an annual charity run here, and we recently held a social responsibility forum. These initiatives also contribute to our business's development in the local community.
It's also a prime spot for couples. In fact, some come here for wedding photos, made more magical by the park's misting system. It also features several fountains, with the musical fountain within Friendship Park being a highlight. Ning Hong, CGTN, Ethiopia.
The new headquarters of the African Center for Disease Control and Prevention has become a milestone of China-Africa public health cooperation, which manifests a blossoming China-Africa relationship. Our reporter Huang Yue has more.
The bustling city of Addis Ababa now has a new landmark, and it's right behind me, the new headquarters of the Africa CDC.
The Phase 1 project of the new headquarters of the African Center for Disease Control and Prevention was officially inaugurated in January this year. The facility includes administrative offices, an emergency response center, an information center, and advanced biological laboratories.
What you are seeing now is a biological safety third-level laboratory, which is the first of its kind in Africa, and there are 2 such labs in the new headquarters. In addition, there are 6 second-level labs, which can greatly help improve the level of medical research in Africa.
The project was first announced in 2018 during the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation in Beijing. Breaking ground in late 2020, the construction of the building coincided with the COVID-19 pandemic, which posed great challenges to the work. But after 25 months, the Phase 1 project of the building was successfully completed and has been handed over to the African side.
The futuristic building embodies the shared aspirations of China and Africa to develop their partnership, as evidenced by the collaborative efforts of the 2 countries to improve their people's well-being. The newly built headquarters exemplifies the benefits of China-Africa health cooperation.
As the first Pan-African Center of Disease Control and Prevention, the new headquarters is expected to help the continent respond faster to emergencies and better benefit African people.
You can see there's a huge screen here which can display the map of Africa and the graphs of different diseases such as COVID-19, Ebola, monkeypox, and dengue. When it's officially put into use, it can fortify Africa's public health system and capacity.
The Africa CDC staff have settled into their new offices, and a state-of-the-art headquarters is also expecting scientists and experts from all over the world to join forces in advancing the continent's public health.
Standing here, you get a bird's-eye view of the Ethiopian capital. The mountain glimmer in the gold of the sun, the roads are filled with the traffic, and people are moving in all directions. The energy inspires the confident that with the new CDC headquarters, the African continent will be better placed to fill in any gaps in public health. CGTN, Addis Ababa, Ethiopia.
And that will do it for this edition of Global Business here on CGTN. I'm Michelle Vandenberg in Beijing on behalf of the team. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. Bye for now.